we will send them Patriots, which they desperately need, because Putin really surprised a lot of people. He talks nice and then he bombs everybody in the evening. So there's a little bit of a problem there, and I don't like it. Well, we're going to see what happens with President Putin. So far, I've been very disappointed with President Putin. I've solved a lot of wars in the last 3 months, but I haven't gotten this one yet. This is a Biden war. It's not a Trump war. I'm here to try and get us out of that mess.
We are very unhappy, I am, with Russia, but we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs, and would like to see it end. It wasn't my war, it was Biden's war. It's not my war. I'm trying to get you out of it. And we want to see it end. And I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there.
This is Donald Trump clearly running out of patience with Russian President Vladimir Putin. And like in all things Trump, he does not mince words. He's unsatisfied, he's unhappy, and perhaps under his necktie, a little itching to have a go at Putin. The reason for this frustration is Trump having made it a prestige issue to end the war in Europe. His entire campaign was about ending the war on day one of his presidency. We are already in month 6, and there are no signs of the end of Putin's war in Ukraine. If anything, last month marked a peak in the intensity of the conflict, with both sides launching major drone and missile campaigns against each other. Let's play some earlier sound bites of Trump on Putin for contrast.
Vladimir Putin made some very nice statements today. Look, he respects our country again. He didn't respect it a year ago, I can tell you right now. He actually was very nice. He volunteered help on, as you know, on Iran. I said, no, I don't need help on Iran. I need help on Russia. Okay? I said, do me a favor. Help us on Russia, not on Iran. But he was very nice. I've had very good talks with Putin, and I've had not such good talks with Ukraine. They don't have any cards, but they play it tough. Getting along with Russia is a good thing, not a bad thing. If Putin likes me, and if he thinks I'm a good, smart person, which I mean, I hope he believes it. I am. Actually, he's right. I am brilliant. You know that, right? But you know what? If he says something positive, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. They try and turn it around, and it's not to be turned around. This is good. This would be a great start.
Now you know from where this frustration is coming. Having tried in right earnest and in good faith to get Putin and Zelensky to pull back from the war, Trump is not liking that the duo have made a mockery of his art of the deal. Ultimately, it's Europe's war, of Europe's choosing. Remember, there's a deep, deep state not interested in having a peaceful relationship with Moscow. They need a villain to keep up the military budgets, to keep up the expansion of NATO. In earlier episodes, I have brought to you how a visceral hate for Putin guides most of the Western elites. Trump has been an exception, and perhaps that's why he's failing. It is in this backdrop that Trump had a little subdued stance on NATO this week. It was with the NATO chief Mark Rutte by his side that Trump launched that salvo at Putin.
We are very unhappy, I am, with Russia, but we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs, and would like to see it end. It wasn't my war, it was Biden's war. It's not my war. I'm trying to get you out of it. And we want to see it end. And I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there.
America has agreed to supply Patriot missile systems to Ukraine, paid for by NATO. Reports even suggested that Trump asked Zelensky if he could hit Moscow if the Americans provided enough firepower. This reportedly happened during a July 4 phone call between the two, a day after Trump had had a 90-minute phone call with Putin and had failed to get the Russian president to make any concessions. What's in it for us, as I always ask? Immediately after coming out of that meeting with Trump, Mark Rutte fired a fresh salvo on BRICS. But his singling out of India was a first from a European leader. Listen to him.
If Russia is not serious about peace talks, within 50 days he will slam secondary sanctions on countries like India, China and Brazil. So my encouragement to these three countries particularly is, if you live now in Beijing or in Delhi, or you are the president of Brazil, you might want to take a look into this, because this might hit you very hard. So please make the phone call to Vladimir Putin and tell him that he has to get serious about peace talks, because otherwise this will slam back on Brazil, on India and on China.
What Rutte is saying in diplomacy amounts to a threat. He's asking India or Prime Minister Modi to be specific, to pick up the phone and tell Putin to back off in Ukraine. Equal parts foolish and preposterous, but also a measure of how run out of ideas the West has become in responding to Russia. In their hearts, they know all the Patriot missiles and other weapon systems are not going to turn the tide of war in favor of Ukraine. Still, they want to persist, and in doing so, they are willing to embroil India in the mess. The Rutte comment was strong enough to get an Indian response.
Securing energy needs of our people is understandably an overriding priority for us. In this endeavor, we are guided by what is there on offer in the markets, as also by the prevailing global circumstances. We would particularly caution against any double standards on the matter.
This tough talk notwithstanding, situation is building up in DC. The manner in which Senator Lindsey Graham, for example, a known India baiter on the Capitol, has been pushing for a bill that would impose 500% tariffs and other sanctions on nations doing business with Moscow is part of the continuum. And Lindsey Graham is seconded by Trump.
Well, I know the bill. I've studied the bill. We're going to see. I mean, if I think Russia will not be making a deal or stopping the bloodshed, 5 and 6 even, I've been saying 5 and 6, and now it's more, 1,000 a week, soldiers being killed, and people being killed, not just soldiers, people being killed, but largely soldiers being killed. Yeah, I'd use it if it's necessary. And they've really given me that option.
Are you trying to get the Senate to water it down, though?
No, I haven't spoken to them about it. They have a bill. It's going to be up to me. It's my option. They've made it that way, and it would save a lot of time if that happened. So I'm okay with it. I haven't decided to use it. It's a very strong bill.
Trump is likely to even oblige Pakistan with a visit, according to many Pakistani media reports that emerged this week. If that happens, it would be a first in over 2 decades that an American president would be visiting Islamabad. We are in a pincer. The Modi government's lofty objective of strategic autonomy comes with challenges to surmount. The present scenario is the best example of that. China suspects we are getting too close to their rival, United States. America thinks we are not doing enough with them to contain China. Europe is annoyed that New Delhi's oil purchases from Russia are part bankrolling Putin's war. But that's a small price to pay. We see the long-term benefits of this autonomy. It is easy to be a Pakistan, to loan your sovereignty, to compromise financial dignity, to let China run your foreign office from behind the curtains, to let America occasionally bomb your mountains, to let IMF and World Bank give you debt with the strings attached. India has chosen the difficult path, and we need to stay the course. That brings me to the last segment, how Pakistan is hoodwinking the world community yet again, specifically Donald Trump.